low key, what? So low key, cloud computing is the way to go right
Yeah.
now. If anyone is into IT at all or new into IT and they want to get in, cloud computing is the way to go. So the three major companies, obviously the three major tech companies, Google, Microsoft, and obviously Amazon. Well,
When
not
did
obviously, but
Amazon become like a tech? Like,
I mean, I wouldn't say obviously Amazon. Let me take that
no,
back.
but they
It's
have been doing a lot of other stuff that's kind of like,
yeah, I mean it's Jeff Bezos, you know,
yeah,
he
I
has to get
mean,
money somehow. So surprisingly enough, Amazon is called AWS, Amazon Web Service. It's been around for a while now, but Amazon Web Service, surprisingly, out of Microsoft and Google, is the biggest cloud service right now. I'm talking about out of all the cloud services infrastructure in the world, it owns like 60%.
hmm,
So with that being said, you if you get into that, like I think when you start off with specifically Amazon Web Services, you start off as you learn the cloud certified, AWS certified cloud practitioner. That's fundamentals. Then you go up to developer, then you go up to like system ops, and then you can go up to like I forgot what the last tier is, but it's just one of those things where if you're into it, you can get a lot of money. You can be remote. You can be at a company, and you get paid a lot of money for just doing working in the cloud. And it's like we've seen how like everything is single sign-on. A lot of organizations, including the military, are going to the cloud with Microsoft 365.
hmm,
Um, so it's just gonna be one of those things where when it comes on to businesses and companies, they're not gonna have any servers because for those of you who may not know or may not even think about it, so when you think of a big company, like say a branch, say in Japan, right? They have to have a server room. And when you have a server room, they have to think of the towers and the amount of money it costs for one server. Then you got to put the servers in a case. Then you got to have proper HVAC for those servers. And you got to have fail safe so they don't overheat. Then you got to pay the electric bill. Then you got to pay the internet bill. Then you got to pay maintenance, IT admins, and all that stuff. That's just the hardware, and that's just the physical stuff. Because you got to put in man traps. You got to put in secure rooms, codes, have the locksmith on speed dial. Then on top of that, you got to get software. So you got to have the OSs for every single servers, and you got to have admins for that. Then you gotta configure them. Then you gotta have antivirus. And you see where I'm going with this. It's
yeah,
like it's
it's
so much money. And then on top of that,
that's not even the hardware
yeah,
aspect
and
of
that's
it.
and
Because
that's the software aspect.
yeah,
And that's not, and we already talked about the hardware aspect. And then on top of that, the biggest thing with the inefficiencies of what I guess the term is called on premises,
hmm,
right? So say you're a McDonald's, right? Just say you're McDonald's. So say you during the summer you have a lot of people, you have a lot of customers. So if you have only 50 servers but you're getting like 100,000 customers a day, it's going to overheat and you're not going to be able to meet the demand. So you're pretty much losing money because you're not getting customers. Whereas say in the wintertime, say people are not buying a lot of McDonald's, whatever, but and you have 50 servers, but you're only getting like 25% capacity. So you're still paying all that electric bill, all that maintenance and everything for the other 25 servers that you aren't using. So you're losing money that way. So with the cloud, and what's very attractive to the cloud is that you can get on-demand scalability. So you in times of big demand, you can up your server, your cloud power, your cloud computing power, your cloud storage, or your cloud computing power, or in times of low demand, you can shrink it. So it's elastic, as Amazon would say, it's elastic.
hmm,
So I mean, when you think of it from a company business level, it is a no-brainer because you can migrate your whole infrastructure from your physical on premises to the cloud, whether that's Azure, Microsoft's cloud service called Azure. AWS is Amazon. Amazon is AWS. Sorry, I forgot what Google's is called, but you just do that. They do everything for you. All the security is done for you. You can customize it however you want. You can pay upfront. You can pay later. You can pay more now or half later. So it's very convenient. And just to not go on a tangent, because I could talk about this for hours, but they're gonna need people. They're gonna need people. So
The
if
tech
you're
world
interested in,
was, I mean, the tech
yeah,
world and the aerospace industry has been projected to
yeah,
need plenty of
yeah,
people. Like, but the
yeah,
thing is people are going to go into it. And I mean, that goes into another thing where people are like, I don't want to work on a plane. I don't know anything about computers. I don't know this, and that. And it's like, bro, like I learned how to work on computers from like, look, having a home computer at home. I wanted to
mhm,
play Dawn of War, and it said that, yo, your system requires a better graphics card. I looked at the lowest graphics card that I could get. I went to Fry's and I picked that graphics card. It was like 60, $70. And then I looked at a video on YouTube that was like, yo, this is how you take out a graphics card. And this is how you put in a new graphics card, put it in my
mhm.
new computer. Boom, game worked. And then ever
Because
since then,
yeah,
boom, everything started
as you
clicking.
as you mentioned before, like YouTube is one of the best things that ever happened to society, to be honest. Like YouTube
Yeah,
is awesome. And I think, and to mention, to go off of that, because I'm the same way too. Like when it came onto electronics, I just looked at it, figured it out. And from then I went there. And it's like, people are just afraid. They look at something and they're like, oh, this is too hard or it's too difficult or I don't have the time. It's like,
you have to
bro,
make the time.
you got to make the time. You got to stop partying, stop gaming, stop doing all this. And like, I'm telling you, man, and this might be going off a big tangent.
I don't even care.
So, every one of us are young. We think we have enough time to do everything and stuff like that. And personally, in my circumstances, I was in a lot of circumstances where I couldn't do a lot. And I think I wasted a lot of time. And I remember when my daughter was a couple of months old, and I looked at her and I was feeding her because she was like a couple months old, as I mentioned before. And I remember looking at her, I was like, man, that's gonna be me in reverse one day. She might end up like I'm decrepit and old, and she's gonna be feeding me. Like, what have I done with my life?
Yeah,
And I think when it comes on to just humanity in general, whether we live in a capitalist country or a communist country, whether we're Christians or Muslims or atheists, whether we're blue, black, white, or black or purple, time is the most important resource in our lives. Because when you think about it, why do we work? Why do we work for money? For resources? For things? For money itself? No. We're literally selling our time for resources. So the reason why a lot of people are attracted to places like America is because they can get opportunities where they can get the money, where they can be really big, and then they can transfer that money and resources to have a quality life. So they don't have to be stressing about bills. So they don't have to be stressing about like when my next meal is. So they can travel the world and experience life as we were supposed to experience. And I just think, a lot of people, they're just stuck in mediocrity and they're just comfortable, which is fine to an extent. But, if you want to live a full life, I think you just have to sacrifice and work hard for a little bit and just make it worthwhile. So, yeah, man, if IT is easy, like, or I wouldn't say it's easy, but it's not a hard industry to get into. All you need is be a self starter, um, you know, discipline. Um, you know, YouTube has a plethora of channels that will
I've
teach
done a
you
lot of
everything from
programming from
hacking,
YouTube,
yeah,
even
from
math,
hacking,
like
yeah,
and
network
that's the thing.
admin,
I mean, we
yeah,
talked
all that
about
stuff.
the FBI is looking for hackers right now, and they
Mhm, mhm.
literally the only requirement that they're looking for is like one of the things was like, yo, you can't have smoked weed in the last 3 years, and it's like, there's a lot of people not doing anything who don't even smoke weed. And it's just like,
Yeah.
bro, like you could go to school for 6 months, uh, maybe a little bit longer than that for IT, depending on what like certifications or everything you're getting. We'll probably just say a year or two. If you're
A
working a
good
regular
year.
job,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. If you're depending on how determined you are, how motivated you are to do this, you may have a job and everything like that. But like, if you're looking to get out of like your stagnant life, like you can easily make 10, 15,000 more dollars than what you're making
Yes.
now. And then it's just a stepping stone. Like that's what we have to look at these things at in life now, because right now there's so many opportunities in the world that can get you to the next step. And the next step may be the step that you want to be on, but there is no more like I'm gonna just work for 3 4 years and then open a business and this and that. Like you kind of have got to have a trade. All the jobs that are like minimum wage and like low level, like don't really contribute to society but contribute to
Hmm.
society,
Hmm.
there's no end to them. Like there's no outlet. Like if you work at McDonald's, like the most you can become is like a general manager or something like
Andrew,
that.
yeah.
And that's the thing, is like, yo, do you want to become a manager? And to speak on that too is like, okay, like say you want to become like you want to own your own McDonald's and things like that. Like that's fine. Like if you want to own a McDonald's franchise and branch off and do things like that, like that's fine. But like a lot of people don't do that. They work as a cashier and then somebody else gets hired, and then it's like once this new person gets hired or you get new management, then they're just like, yo, I don't like the way things are going, I'm out. And then what do? They start back over. And
Hmm.
that's the biggest thing, is like you could literally go into an IT tech field where you could work at home, not have to deal with people, still be doing all the things that you're doing, and just essentially like helping out a company, and they're just sending you, they're just wiring you money essentially. Like, hey man, make sure you check on this and that today. We're having these problems. And then you get in a Zoom call, talk about what's going on, and then you handle it. Like maybe take you a week at most. And then after that week or two, they wire you $30,000 or like whatever your
So,
salary is.
so just to give a little bit of clarity on that, it is possible, but at the same time, it's kind of hard to get a remote job off the bat without experience, because I think a lot of them, they kind of want you to be kind of seasoned because they don't have really time and the proximity to train you and stuff like that. And also you got to be a really good communicator because you're over, you're far distance away. So, but yeah, he's not wrong. Like
But that's the thing,
I
all these things
yeah.
take time. Like that's the biggest thing, is like everything takes time. Even like where we are at in our lives right now, like we started off as graduates from high school thinking that we knew everything, not wanting to put the time into anything, and
Hmm.
maybe putting the time into the wrong things at the right time and vice versa. But in the long run, the sooner that you learn that, the earlier that you put effort into things, the sooner you can get to that enjoyment part of your life where you're not having to do all these things that you don't want to do. I mean, we just went through a pandemic. Some of us are still going through the pandemic. And look how drastically our lives changed. Like people went from having jobs to not having jobs. People went from working a job in an office to working a job at home. A lot of people had to deal with not only emotional stress, but like uh, just the physical stresses of not being able to go out, maybe not even being able to go out to the gym, like all types of things. Like our lives drastically changed. And to be honest, like that lit a fire for me to kind of just be like, yo, like if the world ended, like if this was the end of days and this and that, and like this is all I ever had, like would I want to die like this? And the
Yeah.
question, like that's the question you have to answer, is like why do you want to do the things that you want to do, and what is going to drive you to do those things? Like so it's like just everybody just needs to kind of like think about what can they do for society. And if you don't want to contribute to society and you just want to be like somebody who's just like, this is like your small contribution, like you work at as a retailer or a salesman or something like that, or just whatever job you're doing, and you're like, this is my contribution to society and this is all I feel like doing, that's fine. But for everybody who wants greatness, everybody who wants to do something else, like you have to start stepping up and doing more things that are not necessarily about you, but what are the long-term effects of what you're doing. And
Exactly.
just like this YouTube channel, I mean, we're doing this for ourselves essentially because we have a lot of topics and a lot of knowledge that can be passed off to people that people may not be able to portray in the way that our audience would want to see it, because you got to think every YouTuber is different. Everybody who's putting out content is targeting different crowds, different people, and truthfully, it works because their fans follow them and their fans may not follow another YouTuber who's doing the exact same information. So we are coming from a different background. I mean, military background, tech background, whatever we're going to do in the future. I mean, we have a lot of
Yeah.
projects going on. So, I mean, this is just the beginning. So right now, these are just our experiences based off of what we've done, based off of what we see, based off of what we research. Reading, because I have a couple books that I have coming in. I'm going to send Pop my reading list. There's a lot of books that I haven't read. One, The Art of War.
Oh yeah, it's a good one.
Excuse me. I've been like, a lot of people read it. Like Jordan Peterson, he has a couple books. He has at least 3 books, and he's a clinical psychologist. So that goes into like morals, values, what type of contributions that you can put into the world to make not only yourself a better person, but the people around you, society a better place. I mean, I
Hmm.
just watched a video with this man crying because, like, bro, like when you're passionate about something and people try to tell you, like, yo, they called him a misogynist, like a sexist, racist, like all types of stuff. And it's just like, for the people that he's helping out, like he is a hero because he's talking about the things that need to be talked about. And just because somebody has a different view or point of view than you do doesn't make them wrong. And even like the way he explains things, he's like, yes, I'm saying that, like, so let's just talk about how he talked about men and women and inequality. And he's like, yes, to a certain extent, that's going to happen, but we cannot pinpoint this small factor of it where it's like women aren't getting paid as much as men. Like, you can't just pinpoint that and be like, this is a problem, we need to change it. What factors go into the problem that is this problem? Like, why are women being paid less? What jobs are women applying for and women doing that they want to be paid more for, that men are, that can be comparable to the jobs that men are doing? And that's the thing too. He talked about it on a biological level where he's like, women are going to do more jobs that are more nurturing, more meaningful, like more caring, things like this. And men are going to naturally gravitate towards jobs that are like working with your hands, tougher jobs, tougher environments, essentially building, anything like that. Like he talked about men in the military, military cops, firefighters, like jobs that have like a lot of high risk, high
Fatality rates
stress,
and stuff like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
stuff like that. And then he said, take these jobs, and how many women are applying for these jobs? How many women are trying to go into these jobs? And that's the thing, is like, the more you risk your life, probably the more you're going to get paid.
Hmm.
So for to say that women aren't being equally paid is kind of like a misconstrued view on the topic, because women can be paid more. And he even said that, he's like, there are instances where women are being paid more than men. There's certain CEOs who get paid more than men. And the thing is, it really comes down to like what company they're working for. A woman
Hmm.
can't work for a company and be like, yo, these people don't want to pay me this, and that, but not be willing to leave that company to go to another company who will pay her more, but she has to make sacrifices in going to that country, such as moving out of the country or moving states or leaving her friends or
Hmm.
traveling a lot more and things like that. And that's like the biggest thing, is like, that's why Jordan Peterson is like one of those dudes who like I really follow, because like he cares not only about men, but he cares about people, and he wants people to be better through not trying to compare your struggles, not trying to be like, this is the way it is, and just being like, okay, well, we understand that this is the way it is, but we need to change at a core level. And you have to, I mean, he talks about like you can't get anything done at a mediocre level. Like if you want mediocre results, that's what you're going to get. But nobody's ever succeeded by like, I mean, you do have people who get lucky and win the lottery and things like that.
Hmm.
But like even people who are CEOs who knew somebody, they had to go through trials and tribulations to get to that point, even though the job was handed to them and they may have had more opportunities and more chances to succeed in that job. But that doesn't mean it was easy, because each individual person has to deal with their own essentially demons and choices. So I mean, that's just a tangent, like that's just me going off topic, but that's just something that needs to be considered when we're thinking about like, okay, we want to do better in life, but like what are we willing to sacrifice, what are we willing to do? And
Yeah.
like the IT world is, it's the future, if we're being honest. Like people don't want to think about artificial intelligence, the internet of things, uh just cloud computing, like
Hmm.
all these hacking in general, like that's
Hmm.
going to be a low level thing. And the thing is, like when you think about hacking or like looking at the matrix and stuff like that, like no, like you could literally have a system set up. Like, so I set up my own server here at my house. I set up my own Wi-Fi network, and the business says like, yo, we're going to turn on our Wi-Fi, hack it. And then I get into, there's literally like, you go into programming, it's programming. You go into a command prompt, you type in certain commands, it'll bring up, like, there's actually a command to just like find somebody's internet password out.
So, so guys, like there is like you like. So I follow a couple of hacking groups and stuff like that, and man, I'm telling you, like it's scary because
Oh yeah,
there's tools for almost everything to, from vulnerability analyzers. Those are things that like they go through your network and your computer and they find every little crack and kink in your security um system. There are tools that can scan your Instagram. There are tools that can scan your phone. There's tools that can scan your toaster. Like
bro,
it's it's
not the
it's insane.
toaster.
Like
I mean,
yeah,
truthfully, like think about it. Like LG fridges now are like literally uh, smart refrigerators.
yeah.
So it's
We
like, bro, they have internet, they have connection to all your personal information. Like, this is. I mean,
and
Gary V talked about everything becoming NFTs here soon, because like think about it, like they've already started with like digital plane tickets, digital event tickets, like everything is digital. So it only makes sense that the world will eventually, especially with COVID, like COVID exponentially expedited all this stuff, um, where literally everything can be done digitally, non-contact. Like even in the food network, the food industry, where robots are literally cooking hamburgers, flipping fries, like bottling up groceries or bottling up like juices and things like that. Like if you're not in the tech, then you need to start getting into the tech, because like
yeah, if you're
at this
if
point,
you're a person that's maintaining those robots, like you're tripping, man.
yeah,
Like
like you're
honestly.
gonna, I mean, mechanical fields. So the thing is, the growing things right now are going to be mechanical fields, whether it be aircraft or automated devices, such
Hmm.
as like, I mean, everybody's seen Iron Man. He's got like the little Jarvis arms that move around and stuff like that. Like those are like literally in restaurants now, like flipping burgers, doing all types of stuff. And the thing is, like in that movie, what it was made 11, 12 years ago, this is all
Hmm.
the theory. Like this is all a theory, but I mean, truthfully, robotics has been big for years now. I mean, I was doing robotics in high school, my senior year, and they still have a robotics program through SDSU and things like that. You've seen it more and more on the internet, where robots are doing, like they have like a robot dog, a robot like deer, a
Hmm.
robot wolf, like where these things are doing actual tasks. Like you have in the food industry, there's like a automated like food delivery bot, where it's like a
Hmm.
stroller. You put the food in there, you type in the address, or like use the app to type in the address, and it literally goes to the address. Like it'll stop at stop signs, it'll stop at stoplights, wait for the light to turn. And this technology is even being used in cars. So like I have a brand new Volvo, and it scans speed limits. So like whenever I'm driving, there's a camera on top of my window that like takes a front picture or a video of the everything in front of me. And so anytime I pass a new speed speed limit, it like pops it up on my dashboard. Bro, like technology is not something that we can get away from. And truthfully, think about where we were 20 years ago with
Yeah,
technology. I mean, I was 10, 12 years old and I was just getting a
using his
flip phone. And now I got like even the iPhone like 11 or 10, like, bro, like this is a computer. Like, and that's the thing is everybody's complaining about the prices going up. Like right now, tech is not going to be super affordable because a lot of these things are still new.
Mhm.
But in the next 5 years, I mean, an iPhone is probably going to cost like $500 if that. Like, I mean, maybe just as far as the marketing aspect and everything like that, it may still be up in price. But I mean, the prices are only going to rise as they get better, and then it's going to be uh, one of those things where we're going to be separated by technology. Like only rich people are going to be able to afford iPhones or iPhone tech and things like this, and they're going to separate the classes where it's like, yeah, you got one of them flip or one of them smartphones from 2021. Like I got Google glasses and this and that, and I don't
Yeah.
even own a phone. Like I got an implant. Like, bro, like
Mhm.
it's really coming down to like where it's like you're getting calls from an implant that's like literally putting the voice in your head, and bro, like people are gonna be with that. Like, is
Cyberpunk
yeah,
20. Yeah, that's gonna be
exactly,
another topic. Yeah,
yeah.
but
But that's just this is just a random talk, so don't take it for anything. This is just us chilling. This is where all the ideas are whipped up and come to play.